What's going on, guys? It's a beautiful day out here in South Haven, Mississippi. I'm at my friend's house, Trask. He's walking away from the camera because he's terrified to look into the camera. So if you don't want to hear me mumble on about the day, then go ahead and fast forward to the time in the corner. If not, here's what we're going to be doing. We are going to be replacing the alternator in the Trans Am today. As most of you know by now, it was sitting for about 2 years while I was over in Germany. It was getting ran a little bit. Unfortunately, while I was there, some rats got into it, which you saw in the last video, and started chewing up all on the wiring harness. There you got Maddox, Trask little boy. So with that, it started to drain the battery, and then I guess just normal wear and tear, the alternator went out. So the car will only idle for about 10 minutes before it drains the battery. So let's go ahead and get this thing started. First things first, we gotta jack it up so you can do it from underneath because these F-bodies suck. And so we'll get this jacked up, go ahead and get the belt off, and then we can go ahead and get this thing started. All right, guys, now that you have the car up on the jacks and secured, first thing you're gonna wanna go ahead and do is undo the positive and the negative on the battery. That way there's no connection. Because you are going to be messing with some electrical because it is the alternator. So once you get this done, you're going to pull out a 15mm wrench, ratchet, whatever you want to do, and we're going to go ahead and take the tensioner pulley off and get the belt off as well. Alright, so I got my helper Trask over here. He's pulling the belt off, and once it's off, you're going to want to crawl up underneath the car and take it off the actual spindle from the alternator. Or you could be like Trask and just take the entire belt off. That way you have to do it all over again because, you know, that's just how he likes to do things. And there it is, gone. And there's one way to do it. Alright, one thing I like to do is look at the new part and have a general idea of what you're working with before you even crawl underneath the car. So you know you already have 2 bolts right here. You have a connection here, and then your ground is right here. This is something I like to do, that way I don't have to crawl underneath there, and then, oh no, I need this and that, and then I have to crawl back underneath, out from underneath, and dig for tools. So, I'm going to crawl under it now, and go ahead and start taking the old one off. Alright guys, so like I said, it looks like you have 3 bolts up underneath here. The ground, which you can see right there hanging, and then also the electrical plug-in, which is in the back. So it's going to take a 15mm socket to get all 3 of the ones, and I'll point them out to you right here. Alright, so on top of the 2 that you had to take off from underneath, you also have this 13mm bolt that's right here on the back side. You can get it from the top or the bottom. There is a heat shield that's kind of in the way, so if you have a long wrench like this, then you can get into there from the top. Alright, so after you get that rear bolt out, the next obstacle is getting the things unplugged, which isn't that bad. It's a 13mm socket for the ground, and then it's just a clip for the rest of the wires right here, power and whatnot. But the next big obstacle is going to try to get this thing out of here. That's going to be a problem because then you got the fan shroud here, and you got this lower sway bar or front sway bar, which I went ahead and unbolted. I'm going to try to see if maybe lowering it a little bit might help. And if not, maybe I'll just have to muscle it out right in this area. So once I get that done, I'll let you know how I get it out, and we can go ahead and finish this thing up. Alright, we got it all out. Just kind of had to muscle it through the front fan shroud and the front sway bar. Wasn't all that bad. Now I got to get the new one in, try to plug it in, and then hook up the ground. So try to see if we can't finagle it in there. Alright, so now that you got the ground and the wires connected, gonna go ahead and get those 3 bolts back in. That top one up there, the bottom one, and then the one in the back. That one in the back is going to be the most pain in the butt, so I suggest getting it from the bottom. I had to tear out a liner that was here just to make things easier. Ha-ha! And then reverse order from there. So once you get all these bolts in, you just gotta put the belt back in and you should be ready to go. Alright, so got the belt back on. Gonna go ahead and start lowering this thing down and start it up, see if she's charging herself, and if not, then we got a problem somewhere else. Alright, now that you got your belt put in, you're gonna go ahead and start hooking up your battery and whatnot. I'm hoping that once we get this started, we can go check the volts gauge and it is charging. If it's not, then the only thing I could think of is maybe it's somewhere in this wiring harness. Maybe a wire is crossed or what have you. So, all right, guys. So we got power. Let's see what she does. Alright guys, so we got the alternator done. Unfortunately, it's still not charging to 12 volts. It could be a couple different things. When we put it on HP tuners, it was charging at 11.4. Now it could be that the battery is just really dead, and it also could be the wiring harness. So I know either possibly tomorrow or sometimes this week, we're gonna go, Trask and I are gonna go and completely redo the wiring harness on this car, and hopefully that fixes it, or it could just be a dead battery. So there will be more for that to come. But as always, guys, I appreciate it. Have a great day. Catch you later.
What's up, bitch?
Oh, you know.
What's up, guys? Cody's in there, still struggling with the bolts. So I got bored. Make sure
what? What? No, now that the camera's on, you can't talk.
No, it's there. What?
You're funny, huh?
What?
What'd you go in there and tell her?
I said it's just gonna be another 3 or 4 hours.
You're not running this thing, are you?
Oh God!